We're on? Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lonnie Groot. I am serving as the special magistrate for the city of Cocoa Beach. And we're going to have some code enforcement hearings brought before me today. I am serving under the provisions of Chapter 162 of the Florida statutes. And before I begin, let me just outline a few matters. I know, do we have any respondents in the audience right now? Just, okay, well, good. Then I'll basically be speaking to you because probably everybody else in the room knows what's going on, okay? So we're gonna have hearings today and they're open to the public because we are a government in the Sunshine State where the public can watch what's going on and what decisions are being made by their governments. And this is a government making a decision, okay? Actually, we're gonna be filmed and this will be broadcast over YouTube at some time in the future, so there may be some citizens who watch this to learn what their governments are doing also. So today we're gonna operate basically like a mini trial, but not with the same formalities. The city is the prosecution, if you will, and will present their case before me. At the end of their case, whoever the respondent is will have the opportunity to cross-examine the witnesses of the city. And then at the end of the city's case, the respondent may make their case and the city can cross-examine the respondent. After all the evidence is in, I'll render an oral order adjudicating what occurs at this hearing. And then sometime within the next few days, Ms. Handwork, this is Kelly Handwork, she's the clerk to the special magistrate, and I will develop an order, a written order, which will be executed, and the city has the option of recording it or not, but anyway, that order can ultimately become a lien, it'll impose a fine, and there's a whole set of processes that go along with that. This is not a public hearing, so if anybody were to be in the audience and said they wanted to speak, this isn't the situation where anybody from the general public can speak. It's only people who the city calls. It's only people who the respondent calls as witnesses. Those are the people who speak at this hearing. All testimony by statute must be under oath, and that's basically the process. Did you think I missed anything, Ms. Handler? That's basically the process, and what I would like to do at the very beginning is we have Mr. Robin Ryland, who is the code enforcement officer for the city here, and like I said, Ms. Kelly Handwork, who's the clerk, and we'll introduce everybody else later on, but that's basically the essential players besides myself right now. And the next order of business is the minutes from the last meeting, which were, what date was that? The 2nd? 5th, May 5th. I have reviewed those minutes. They're in good order, and I have approved them, and I have signed them and handed the minutes to Ms. Handwork. So, all that being done, all that good ministerial stuff, all persons who plan on testifying at today's hearing, I will now swear you in. So that includes respondents who plan on speaking. Okay, and I know you're Mr. Robin Ryland.
Yes, sir.
Now, would you please state your name, sir?
Jay Castello, building official.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Kathy Everhart.
Yes, ma'am.
Emerald Everhart.
Yes, sir.
Edward Nygaard.
Do each of you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matters now herein be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You are duly sworn. Okay, Mr. Ryland, I'm going to turn it over to you to bring your cases forward.
I appreciate it, sir. My name is Robin Ryland. I'm the code enforcement officer for the city of Cocoa Beach. The first case is case number 23338. The respondent is Kathy and Emerald Everhart. The address of property is 225 Minuteman Causeway. Parcel and legal description is per the agenda. The code section violation is section 6-4C, 1, permit required, permit and permit fee required. the City of Cocoa Beach Code of Ordinances. If I can start off, I'd like to go ahead and give you a copy of all evidence, which I'll ask you to put into
All right, I have accepted the file from the code enforcement officer. Ms. Ebenhart, do you have any objection to this being introduced into evidence? Ms. Handwork is so admitted. All right.
I gave that copy also, everything that you have, to Ms. Eberhardt. The case started back on April 11th when I got information from the neighboring property, Mr. Todd, complaining that these people were doing work without a permit, doing plumbing work. I responded there, saw an individual who's no longer with us. What I saw was the hole was dug out in the back. It looked like the pipe was removed. Some of the sheetrock was also removed from the property. I was informed that they were putting in plumbing work. There was a toilet outside. However, no permits were put out on this property. That would be the first 2 pages of the explanation of how I started the case. The second case also is that I tried communicating with the parties. They asked me to postpone it, which I did at one time, and that was the last of our communication. Notice of violation went out to them back on April 17th. The green card was returned to us on April 27th, which you will see. I apologize. Property appraiser is noted inside this folder, and this is the Everharts, Kathy and Emerald, as being the owners, and their mailing address was 1460 Plum Avenue, Merritt Island, Florida. The hearing for the notice of magistrate also went out. We did not get a green card, so I ended up posting the property on that. The property was posted on June 21st of 2023. You will see 2 photos of the posting of the property, which was on the front door. The photos that you'll see concerning this property, the first paper just shows the sheetrock. The second one, because I did not go inside the building, you can see that the sheetrock was removed off the 4x4 wall. You will see in the next picture how the hole was dug out to put in the piping, and the last picture also shows the sheetrock missing. Talking to Everhart, when I did have the one chance, they said that yes, that they were going to try and get the permit. What happened to the communication? I don't know, because they've always been communicating with me on several other occasions. Like I said, the person that was doing the work for them did pass away. Whatever they want to go ahead and say on the issue, I'm willing to work with them still. And like I said, they've always been there. They've held this antique store for quite a while. I want to say probably for the last 15 years. I know for the last 15, 17 years I've been here. They've been there. That's all the court has to offer, if you want to hear their side, sir.
Okay. Do you have any questions of Mr.?
I would like to say a few.
Well, you certainly may, but do you have any questions at this
No,
time?
I understand.
Okay.
Except for my husband's case with that.
Okay, hang on.
I want to explain what happened.
Yeah, I want you to. So if you'll go, you have, that's your dais, that's your
Yeah,
speaker.
oh, I know, I'm well aware of that, please. I've
No.
been there 49 years in that building.
Well, I mean, what I mean is,
Cocoa Beach 60.
hang on. What I mean is, it's your time to go up to the speaker's podium and speak.
I don't want to go up there, my daughter can.
Well,
This was all done behind my back.
okay,
You have to excuse my mother. My stepfather, someone died, he was supposed to do the work. My stepfather literally went to the building.
hang on, it's real quickly, okay? Now, okay, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ma'am, hang on. When Mr. Ryland is speaking and when your daughter's speaking, this handwork is taking minutes and is recorded, so we just need to have all the communications coming this way, okay? Okay, and one other thing, so you're not one of the owners, it's your mom and dad who are the owners?
No, I am an owner. My
Okay,
mother's
all right,
not.
I got confused there.
That's
Okay,
okay.
go ahead.
Okay. My name is
Oh.
Emerald Bliss Eberhart.
Okay.
My stepfather has been causing us problems for many, many years. He went up to the shop. I don't even know what he was doing. I'm busy trying to live my own life. Go up there, and that's when I discovered the big hole in the middle of the floor, and he was gonna do a project. The person he was working with died, and from what I could see, the only project I saw being completed was destruction of our shop and drinking beer and getting out of it. And that's basically what I had to deal with. I didn't even go back there.
Let me
I
get
didn't go
something
back
clear.
to
Let
the
me get
shop
something
because
clear.
of the
Right
screaming
off
and
the bat.
yelling.
So your mom and you own the property.
We own the property.
Your stepfather, what relation does he have to the property?
He has no relation other than what he's done to destroy it.
Hang on. All communication.
He was trespassed
Hang on.
yesterday
Please.
from the shop.
I'm not talking to you right now.
Okay.
Hang on a second. All communication goes from the speaker's dais to me. That's it. Nobody in the audience speaks unless you're called as a witness. Hang on. Unless you're called as a witness, then that's up to you.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
My mom's going through a really difficult time with him right now. Basically, it's been like, I'm assuming he's sabotaging us. That's all I can think. Along with the men next door, they literally put a gutter over our roof, so our roof is flooding with water now every time it rains. Then the cement, where you're supposed to have the big sewer, they filled that with cement so that we can't even use our bathroom. And it's been one thing after another. And my stepdad was hanging out drinking beer with them. I came up, saw the big hole, tried to make some sense with him, but you can't really talk to somebody who's totally out there. And he started screaming, yelling, so I left. He proceeded apparently to stay at the shop and make a huge mess of it. That's, I mean, a huge mess
You don't
of it.
dispute the condition of the property, it's just you're saying the cause was...
The cause was my crazy stepfather. We were out of town for a few days, showed up yesterday at the shop. I got a call that the shop was open and my stepdad was there selling stuff. He was literally giving things away for $1. He got a locksmith to come in because not supposed to have a key or anything because of all this stuff. And he had a locksmith come in, open the lock and get in and start selling stuff. He had a homeless man there working. I mean, it's been a nightmare. And my mom, it has had such a huge impact on her health because it's insanity. It's insane. He's insane. I don't know how to control him. I don't know what to do with him. I've called the police. Finally, yesterday, they did trespass him. So hopefully he won't be coming back.
Yesterday.
Yes, and I have the trespass notice. So, I mean,
Do you have any other comments about the evidence?
there's nothing I can say other than he was the one that was in charge.
Mr. Ryland, do you have any questions?
The only thing I was complaining about was all the things that the people next door were doing, like filling our sewer with cement. On our easement, they have all their trash cans. They will not move them. And all of the water dumps out over onto our little building. We're taking all of their water onto our building when it rains. It's literally making our roof go like this.
Let's have a heart.
Now,
This has to do
just
with
so you'll know, just for the
Yeah,
process, now's the time for
that's
Mr.
good.
Ryland to ask questions of you.
Okay.
Are you gonna get a permit for this?
I can't afford to get a permit right
Okay,
now.
no problem.
And I told you
All right,
and Jay that.
All right, is that shop open?
No, not right now.
All right, because I'm willing to go ahead and ask the magistrate, as long as that shop isn't open, then there's no violation per se, because nobody's using it. However, if you open up that shop, then you're in violation, then I will give you a fine, if the magistrate can agree to that.
Okay.
But the shop has to remain closed and not in use.
Okay, well, how can I open it? I need to
No.
I need to make some money to be able to even get to move forward and to fix anything. So that's kind of where we've been at a bad spot right now, and trying to keep my stepfather away.
And how long would it take you to go ahead and earn that money to go ahead and obtain a permit?
I don't know how much, well, I have, because of everything that my stepdad did, the one plumber that I had that was gonna help, he now kind of has stepped back because apparently my stepdad made a real mess of things and broke things that didn't need to be
Alright,
broke.
that's-
So I would say if you guys could give us a couple months, it's summertime, so it's kind of dead, so a couple months would be great. Yeah, if we could have, I mean, if it was say September to Christmas, then I would say 2 months for sure.
I would give 30 days, but that's all we can give because I'm.
Now, hang on, we're not doing
I
that.
don't know how
This is
much
not a, hang on, please.
the permit would be. It can't be more
I
than
don't-
$100, right?
Miss
Okay, so yeah, I could,
Miss Ebenhart,
30 days. days.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Evanhart. The gentleman who keeps wanting to speak, do you want to call him as a witness?
He's just been aware of everything
No,
going
do you want to
on.
call him as a witness?
No, I think we can resolve
Okay, then
this.
don't say anything, okay? And I'm going to ask the law enforcement officers in the audience to help me in that regard. I think I've said it 2 or 3 times. Don't say anything unless you're called as a witness, okay? So, and you have the right to call him as a witness.
Yeah, he's just a witness to the chaos. and
Okay,
stuff
well,
like that.
I've sort of gotten I've gleaned the chaos. Okay?
Yes, so.
So let me ask a question and follow up. So you say you need to earn some money. You say you're asking the city for 60 days. Mr. Ryland's talking about 30, but you're not talking about renting it within the 60 days, right?
No, it's not in a rentable.
So to go to your point, if it's not rented, if it's not used, it's not a violation, but you'd like a violation to kick in if it was occupied and used. Have I got that right?
What the issue is that it shouldn't be used whatsoever. It's
Oh, I
an
got
antique
you.
store, so she wants to go in there and sell product so she can earn the money to go ahead and pay for the permit. As far as I know, a permit like that wouldn't be more than $100, thereabout. And I'm looking at the city, whatever you do, building official.
Probably around
But yeah, it's about $100 and some odd dollars. So just for to sell products or something like that for a month, I've got no issues with it. Longer than that, I would say that no, because we've had a long time now to come up to this point.
So let me see if I'm hearing correctly.
If you found.
What
that
you would
guilty-
like me to do, and listen, please listen to him too. Well, I understand the city would like me to find a violation, give the property owner 30 days to come into compliance by getting the permit, and then if they don't come into compliance by getting the permit within 30 days, a fine to kick in.
Yes, sir, you got it
Do
correctly.
you understand what the city's asking for?
Yes,
So you're
yes, sir.
getting sort of better than what I thought you were asking for, actually.
Yes. Yes, I
Is
understand.
that understood? Is that what you want, Mr. Ryland?
Yes, I'm getting a signal from the city building official.
Okay, we're gonna have the city building official like to testify?
If I may add something.
Oh,
Please
sure,
stand
come on
Yeah.
up. We'll do it this way.
Jay Costello, building official for the city of Cocoa Beach. Something that may help with the situation in that if they do get the application and get the permit submitted, you guys will have some time to be able to get the work done in there. The permit will be alive for 6 months, as long as work is progressing and an inspection is done. So if you are able to do that, then it does give you a little bit of time to be able to work towards getting the money, if I'm reading that right, to help you along with the job.
So let me see if I got the building official correctly. Your focus is on the application for the permit,
Correct.
whether the inspections and everything occur and you actually receive the occupancy certificate.
Yes, but we have to
The
be,
approval of not occupancy,
but with the
Sorry.
code case, the work must commence. In other words, it
Oh,
can't, it
my
doesn't
God, it can't
necessarily,
be-
yeah, they can't just use it to buy time
It has to be good
buy another-
faith progress on it,
Correct.
right? So
Correct.
you can't just let it, file the application and.
Yeah, file the application and then sit for another 2 years.
Okay. So you want, Mr. Ryland, then we're sort of having a little communal thing here, but that's okay.
I apologize.
That's
sir.
okay. You'd like to have the permit applied for how soon then?
No, I would like her to have the permit within 30 days.
Okay,
Not applied for, because, yeah, that's the problem. because-
Issued. Okay,
Right,
issued.
issued, because a lot of times people do apply for it, and then they never pay for it, and then.
Oh,
they're back
okay, your process is you don't
Have to
pay.
be issued.
Okay, permit issued within 30 days.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear that?
Yes.
You're agreeable to that?
And how long will that take? Like if I put it in, so it's not really 30 days. I have like, what, 20 days? And
No.
then apply for it?
If you went to apply for it right away, I would talk to Mr. Costello and ask him to expedite it. He would expedite it right away so that you would have it in that time frame. So it wouldn't be a holdup. I'm not here to go ahead and find you
Okay.
anything like that.
Okay, because right now I'm not in a position to
Right.
get it, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm gonna get to the maybe a hairy part. Assuming that, well, we've got a consensus about the finding of violation, 30 days to have the permit issued, what does the city suggest to be the fine if the permit's not issued in a timely manner?
Well, there's two ways we can go on this, sir. is one, because there's no bathroom in that establishment and so forth, that place could be closed. It can't be used. All right, the other, we could go for a $25 per day fine.
25?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you don't have to agree to it. I can
No.
tell you, I find that that's a very reasonable amount.
Yeah, no, that's fine, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Ryland, is there anything further to be brought before me on this case?
No, sir. I'm sorry for the little bit of a cluster
No,
there.
no,
but it
that's
all worked out
fine. We got there.
All right, thank you, sir.
Ma'am, is there anything you'd like to bring forward?
No, I do have a question. Since we've been having these issues with our neighbor, like, how is that someone can do certain things to someone's property and
Okay, well,
nothing can be done?
I'm gonna that's not for me, that's for you to talk to city.
I can talk to the city about it?
Of course you can.
And tell
Sure,
them?
they're always willing to talk to their citizens.
All right, because it's almost like we're being strong-armed, kind of, so.
That's, no.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All matters being brought before me in case number 23-338, the respondent Kathy and Emerald Eberhardt, property address of 225 Minuteman Causeway, the parcel ID number as set forth on the agenda and the documents entered into evidence. I find that there is a violation of section 6-4C1 of the City of Cocoa Beach Code of Ordinances, and that a permit was required to be issued and it has not been issued. I adjudicate that on the basis of that violation, the property owner shall have 30 days in which to have a permit issued by the city. And should the permit not be issued, the property shall not be used, and a fine of $25 per day shall commence on the first day after the permit is not issued in a timely manner.
Thank you, sir.
And that's the ruling in that case. Mr. Ryland, is there another case to be brought before us today?
It'd be number 2, case number 23-341. The respondent would be Richard C. Foster. Address of property would be 55 Cedar Avenue, number 1. Parcel ID and the legal description is per the agenda. What happened on this case here was the individual was in violation of section 1022 enumerated conditions. He had an automobile that was inoperable. He came into the office, told us that he put a new tag on it, told my sergeant, he didn't leave his name or number. The other issue was that all 4 tires were totally flat. I drove by yesterday because there was no communication with the man, saw that there was 4 brand new tires on the vehicle. He came into compliance and I closed it. He was actually here today. I talked to him and told him that he was in compliance.
I saw that gentleman. You had apologized to him because you tried to get to him and you couldn't.
Yes, sir.
That's very good. That's what it should be. All right, so we have a case in compliance. Is there another case to be brought before us today?
Yes, sir. This one is case number 23-396. The respondent is Roger Scruggs and James Scruggs. The address of property is 1391 Orlando Avenue South, parcel ID number, and legal description is per the agenda. What happened on this case here, I have totally prepared for it. The individual came in. He gave me a letter, which I will give you a copy of. He asked for postponement because he had an issue that he had to attend at the Veterans Museum, and I was not going to not allow him to go ahead and ask for postponement on this case, sir, because of that reason.
You have no objection to the postponement?
No, sir.
Okay.
So this one I'm asking for postponement.
Then, based upon the recommendation of the city and, the good cause in having a function at the Veterans Museum, which is definitely a good cause, we'll grant the continuance until the next scheduled meeting, or the next noticed meeting, I guess.
Right, I think that's 8th of August, Kelly?
do we want to say notice, or are we sure we're going to have one in August?
I hope so.
Okay, until the August meeting. Excuse me? August 9th. Continued to August 9th. You got it. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Is there another case we brought before us today?
Yes, sir. Case number 23-397. The respondent is KLT East Coast LLC. Address of property is 637 South Orlando Avenue. They are also posted on their property as also 625 South Orlando Avenue. Parcel ID and legal description is per the agenda. The code violations are Section 1022, enumerated conditions prohibited. Section 611, IPMC Section 302, exterior property areas. IPMC Section 302.7, accessory structure. IPMC Section 304, exterior structure. Section 304.1, general. Section 304.9, overhang extensions. Section 304.10, stairways, decks, porches, and balconies, as adopted by the City of Cocoa Beach Code of Ordinances. I would like to present you with a packet, which I would like for you to put into evidence, if you found this.
Okay, let me just make a call here.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody here representing KLT East Coast LLC? You are? Okay.
Great.
You want to come? You weren't sworn in at the beginning, so come on forward, please. Just before we begin, what relationship do you have with that LLC?
I do, pressure management for them.
You do? Okay. Now, well, let's swear you in. Would you state your full name, please?
Camille, Barnes.
Ma'am, do you solemnly swear at testimony about giving the matter not here but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. And the reason I ask that, okay, is some jurisdictions only would allow a manager or an attorney to represent the property owner. What's the position of Cocoa Beach?
Sir, property manager, as long as she's put it on record that that's who she is, I've got no,
I agree. I just wanted to see what your position was.
and
All
I'll give you a
right.
packet as well as the one.
And you had the lady's name, is that correct?
Camille Barnes.
All right, okay.
Please, phone number and address. Yeah, please come over. Yeah, that's fine, thank you.
321-779-7785. And the address is 201 South Bumby Avenue, Orlando.
And
What was the street? I'm sorry, what was the address again?
201 South Bumby Avenue,
Can you spell that?
Bumby.
okay, ma'am, you weren't here at the very beginning, so Mr. Ryland's going to present the case for the city. After he's through, you can ask him any questions you want. If he calls witnesses, you can ask them questions, and then you'll have an opportunity to present whatever you want to present, and Mr. Ryland will have an opportunity to ask you some questions.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir. This case started on May 11th. It was just me driving around and I saw the building. Saw what appeared to be brand new windows up on the third floor of a building, so I got out and started walking around. What I began seeing was the decaying walls, the electric wiring exposed. Like I said, I checked on the permits for the windows. There was none. There was even some pump installed in the back of the location and so forth. A notice of violation went out on May 11th. You'll see in the packet, it's more intense, the description of the issues at hand. Section 1022 was the cutting of the grass, debris, and there was numerous holes in the building. Also, Section 611 with Section 302 of the exterior properties, the repairing of the walls, doors, screen, and fence and windows. Section 3, you'll see that there are issues with outlets, repair wiring, and the last section was permits were needed for electrical, plumbing, windows, and the walls. You'll see in the packet from Brevard County, the actual property appraiser notation of who owns the property and what the address is. Mailing address of this location is 12472 Lake Underhill Road, and that's in Orlando, Florida. Looking at the photos, the first photo I went ahead and produced for you was an overhead shot, so you'd have an understanding of what this property looked like. There's 3 one-story buildings in the front with numerous abodes inside. The back area on either side, which is the north and south, those are also one-story with, I believe, 2 abodes on each side. The center one is 3 stories high. We sent out a notice, nothing came back on it. On this issue, I went ahead and asked the city building official and the fire marshal to go out. In my packet, you will see that the fire marshal did go out, and he is here today if you need to talk to him. He wrote it up on May 10th, how the place was in violation of numerous violations. He stated how, well, it's in front of you, I'll read it. A site inspection was completed at the property located at 637 South Orlando Avenue per request from me. Several residents were on site and escorted myself, meaning the fire marshal, and Inspector Telesca, Telesca, around the exterior of the units. No interior spaces were inspected at this time. Several issues were noted, such as improperly supported stairs, missing fire and smoke barriers under stairs, hot water heaters, second-story support beams, and inside laundry room. Penetrations were present in external walls in several places throughout the property. Electrical issues were found in laundry room, hot water heater, meter boxes, and on exterior walls with unsupported conduit. 1 fire extinguisher was located on site. It was not charged, and the tags for both annual inspection as well as the 5-year hydrostatics testing were out of date. Additional fire extinguishers will need to be placed on site in case of emergency. He goes on to say that there is a high risk of potential injury to emergency personnel if they had to go ahead and respond there. On this date, I received a voicemail from an individual by the name of Linda France. Come to find out, she works for Florida DBPR. This was on May 18th. She informed me that she was out there, that she did talk to somebody, and there was issues that she wrote up. The individual said that he had just bought the property and so forth, and she asked him, why are you fixing up the single-story buildings and not this one here? And I do not have an answer to that question, but that was one of the questions she asked. She then went ahead and informed me and put it on record. I did go ahead and call her and try to leave an invitation to come today, which apparently she was not able to. In this packet, you will see that there is a listing from DBPR of all the violations that she had. It was strange that she even went out there. I never heard of them going out there for this stuff, but it was nice that I have another agency also concluding the same results that I had. Her complaint was back on 5/12/23, several days after I went ahead and went to the location. She mentions broken windows, the ceiling hanging down, water heater storage issues, holes in the floor, again, broken windows. The floors on the top floor were not stable. The stairs were not up to code. They were squishy where they had been saturated with water and needed to be replaced. She listed approximately 6 high priority violations for the balcony, concrete, which had exposed rebar on the stairway and the platform, the rotting and deterioration of the stairs by the laundry room. The railing was in disrepair and needed to be replaced. Again, she went for the stairway. That needed to be repaired and replaced. And she also saw on the premises that the fire extinguishers were not operable. Having no communication whatsoever from anybody at this location and making contact back with Ms. France from DPPR, she stated that she no longer had any communication with the property owner. So a magistrate hearing went out. I did not receive any green card back from that. As you will see, I did post the property on June 20th, and there's 2 pictures there to go ahead and show the 2 possible, or the 2 postings. The last pages are the pictures of the property. We can go through each one. The first one being that there was the fascia, holes in the walls, and so forth, and this is all in the 3rd-story building. In front of this 3rd-story building is the grass needs to be cut and so forth. In the rear place is where the hot water heaters are. They're all exposed to the exterior elements. If you look on top of the 1 water heater, the tubing that comes down to cover the electrical wiring is not up to code. That's the wrong type of conduit, and the wires are exposed. The exterior door that leads out of the laundry room into that backyard area, that door is dilapidated, ready to fall apart, needs totally to be addressed. The next picture will show you a sump pump. This sump pump was put in because this place is always flooding. I used to talk to the residents about it. They used to have sandbags up against the walls and so forth, right there where you see the sump pump. They went ahead and took away all the sandbags, put in the sump pump that was non-permitted. And you'll see in this picture and other pictures, they took away the sliding glass patio doors there and decided to go ahead and enclose it and just put in a single window, all done without permits. Everything you see here, I never touched whatsoever. And here you'll have an electric box that is wide open and the wire is exposed. Not taking the path any further than where I was at, I tried to take a picture down the back of the location, and that's where you'll see the overhanging grass, all the debris in the back of the foliage. There's even a table sitting back there. Looking up at the front, you'll see that the window was replaced. There's still tags up on the window, brand new window without permit. And the next picture, you'll see a hole in the wall where there was plumbing work done. I guess that's how they got to the plumbing work, was to go ahead and expose a hole. There's another door with problems. There's no screen on the screen doors. I probably had close to about 50 pictures. I'm sure the fire marshal has also pictures, if you wanted to question him. The stairways, like I said, they were saturated. The stair steps are actually saturated, that when you walked up them, they squished. They were not up to code. There was no railing. If you went up to the 2nd floor, when you walked on the porch area, there was no underlayment on top of the trusses. All they did was put down shingles that if you walked in between the trusses, you'd probably fall through. Again, there was no communication with these people, and I would like for you to go ahead and find them in violation of all these items that I've suggested.
I may have missed one point.
Yes,
Is
sir.
this property occupied?
Yes, sir, totally. Everything's occupied on this
So
property.
that may answer my second question. So electric utility is connected then?
Yes, sir. When I was there, the people actually came out. I'm not going to say which people because I don't want them to lose their residence. They understand what is happening here because of the amount of money that they pay for this location. My theory is that I don't care if you're paying $10 a week for to live somewhere, or if you're paying $1,000 a week or a month. You should be given what you expect, and it should be a safe issue of where you're living.
Okay, do they have anything else? at
No,
this
no,
time? Okay, is it Miss Barnes?
Yes.
Camille?
Camille.
Oh my gosh, I actually heard correctly. Ms. Barnes, do you have any questions of Mr. Ryland?
I do not at this time. I was asked to come by one of the partners. There's several owners involved.
Okay, well, hang on. If you don't have any questions right now, we'll get you in just a second.
Okay.
Did you want to call the fire marshal, or do you?
Yes, if I could, go ahead and ask Fire Marshal to come up here.
Roberto?
Yes, sir.
I have one question right off the bat.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just your letter of May 10th,
Yes, sir.
2023. Is everything in that letter correct,
Yes, sir.
based upon your professional opinion as a fire marshal?
Yes, sir.
Is it, and so, well, I don't have to answer that question. You're saying this property does pose a threat to the public and to emergency personnel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you have any questions, the fire marshal, sir? Mr. Brown? Or you just,
No, sir. I thank you for asking that question to him. This way it's on record.
Oh, is that what you, okay.
No, you did that for me, and I appreciate
Okay,
it.
Ms. Barnes, do you have any questions of the fire marshal?
I do, it was just to find out, was this notice also sent certified mail to?
No,
the
it was sent to
hunter?
Mr.
That
Riley.
was sent to me. I asked him to go ahead and go there and check out the property and tell me what he thought were
Okay.
violations and so forth, just like I did with the city building official.
Okay, that was my only question.
Do you have any other witnesses?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Barnes, now is your opportunity.
So, not knowing about the other notices, I was asked, as I mentioned, to come by one of the partners. I believe the initial contact was done by a local owner, and since then, we've reached out and said, hey, what's the status? We don't handle the maintenance, the local owner does. We handle mostly the administrative portion of the property management services. So now knowing the details, I'll be able to go back to the other partner who is not local and able to see what's happening and give them an update, and we'll just operate accordingly.
Mr. Rowland, do you have any questions, Ms. Barnes?
Out of curiosity, when did you all find out that I sent out these notices? Or how did you get them?
I received notice, I want to say last week, from their admin, who received a certified mail to say that there was a hearing.
Okay.
Who is the admin? When you say admin?
Her first name is Patty, I don't remember the last name, I can look it up if needed.
Is the address different from the one that we mailed it to? Or
No, the Underhill address is
Right.
where they get their mail.
Okay, no.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do you have anything further for the response?
I do not.
Mr. Rowland, do you have anything further?
Twofold is one, I'm a little disappointed with their company that they never reached out to talk to me. Because this is a serious violation, because the people are living there. One other issue is, and I apologize to the city building official, I would like to go ahead and have him make a comment concerning this property also. He did not give me anything in writing other than to say that there was violations there. If you would come up, Mr. Stell.
You've been sworn before, so go
Yes,
ahead.
yes, sir. Yes, I also visited the site and with the fire marshal at one point as well, and everything that was reported and that I've seen the reports, I do agree with our issues and need to be satisfied quickly.
Okay. Ms. Barnes, do you have any questions of the building official?
I do not at this time.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other evidence the city would like to introduce?
No, sir, not at this time.
What is the city suggesting for a number of days to come into compliance?
Sir, I would give them 15 days to go ahead and come and talk to the building official, even the fire marshal if need be, and start something going within those 15 days. After the 15 days, I would like to see a fine of $250 a day be applied until some type of activity is taken care of, such as obtaining permits. And I'm saying, if that happens, obtaining the permits means obtain them within 30 days, not to just apply with them or say that this is what we're going to do, that's what we're going to do. I've had a lot of issues with this property in my years here with the city. It's changed hands several times. And it seems like that's how they do it. They just keep changing hands. And I know the violations do go with the property. In this instance, though, enough is enough, especially when the people are coming out of the abodes to tell me that there is issues, but they're scared to say anything because that's their residence. So 15 days to go ahead and make some type of communication with the building official to start taking activity, a fine of $250 a day if nothing is happening. And then I would hope that the building official will allow us to bring this back to court if something doesn't happen within approximately 30 days.
But meanwhile, you're saying the property's occupied.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you understood what the suggestion was. And I'm not, I've done this before for years and years.
Right.
I'm not in the position of ever, I can tell you that the $250 a day is what I was thinking. But the question I have, because I'm going to sign an order. And when I say 15 days, that means it's okay to live there for 15 days, basically. And I would like to ask the building official and the fire marshal, would you come back to the witness stand?
I understand what you're saying, sir, and I'm gonna throw something in there before we go.
Okay,
any
I'd
further.
like to, I'm gonna hear your, go ahead.
These residents, I don't know if this is politically correct, they're low-cost housing. And my problem is I don't want to see these people kicked out, if you understand where I'm coming. If they can be relocated or something, then it should be relocated by the owners of this property if they were to go ahead and remove them. It wouldn't be, you're out of here within this time period. You understand what I'm saying, sir? I know there's several safety issues. I'll let these two go ahead and see if they think it's that serious to go ahead, but that's what's gonna happen.
I think that's important for all of us to talk about.
Right, yes, sir. So please go ahead.
Mr. Building Official, I'll let you go first.
It's along that fine line of whether we can condemn or not. With all considered, we'd have to address that issue with administration and make a decision within that 15 days, or within less days of whether or not to remove them and condemn the building down. I am not sure legality-wise on what, with the residents and along that line of it.
Well, I mean, the point is, and I got you, it's a major decision for any government to relocate people, dislocate people, forcefully remove people. And I'm not suggesting, do you have any problem with a finding in the order that says that the owner of the property should not be allowing occupancy of the property and should not allow continued use of the property? Not that we're doing anything to remove people, not that the city is doing anything to remove people, not that I have jurisdiction to remove people, but I would like to make a finding.
I would agree with that finding. And that something needs to be done immediately and addressed, and it can't, I think something to go along with that as well is, let's say they come in the next day and get a permit and going, that the construction would need to start and have a definite timeline of when construction in major areas be taken care of, so that it doesn't, again, another avenue to extend it and be, months.
Well, I think you're being very reasonable, but I'd like to have those findings, and it sounds like the evidence supports it. These properties should not be occupied, and Ms. Barnes, the message is, and it's being said orally today, it's gonna be said in writing, that property should not be occupied, not only for the sake of the occupants, but for the sake of emergency personnel who may have to come there. That's what the letter says, and I appreciate that. I have entered orders before saying, fix everything tomorrow. Whenever there's electric, when I see electric, and this is a great letter, when I see that emergency personnel are also gonna be, you don't know what's there once you get there.
We saw no interior spaces, so I can imagine what the interior spaces are like compared to what the outside is. There's obviously different aspects and levels of violations that need to be fixed. Some of the water intrusion and things like that, not that big of a deal at this point, but yes, electrical, stairs, railings, possible collapse of ceilings, I don't know.
Understand. I got you, because, I had a son-in-law who's in Iraq, had a stairwell fall on his shoulder, which sort of messed him things
Sure.
up, and I just hate to see a fire personnel have the same thing happen to them. So, but we can make those findings, and then y'all can do whatever you want to administratively. I just think the findings should be in the order.
Yes, sir.
It puts the onus on the property owner, your client, your whoever, that those properties need to be fixed and those people need to be taken care of who are occupying. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Mr. Ryland?
Could I ask a question of the management company?
Okay, sure. Ms. Barnes, you're being called.
The way I understand it is you were fixing up other dwellings there.
Correct. The
Are
owners.
they empty?
Yes, they're being
I can-
fixed up as they're vacated.
Okay, but right now, if I'm not wrong, when I was there, I think you had like 3 of them that were empty.
You were there,
Back on the 10th, I'm gonna say.
that
May.
sounds about correct, 3 or 4.
Right. If I can make a suggestion while you're standing here, and I can't thank you enough, sir, for your input. Again, the $250 a day, if they don't come to the city and talk to the city official within those 15 days with the with that stipulation that these people are moved from that building to these other abodes.
Within the 15 days?
No, ASAP as soon as possible. In other words,
Oh,
give them
okay.
notice, say that we're gonna go ahead and move you within the week.
Move to where? I'm,
If you look at the picture, there's other structures.
okay.
The other structures are being fixed up, and they're
Okay.
vacant at this time. So why not move these people to those other apartments
I got you. Okay.
as soon as possible within the week?
Ms. Barnes, does that sound like a reasonable solution to you?
Yes, that was actually gonna be one of my questions. So we're really more so focused on the back building being an issue. The other front buildings, we can relocate.
The whole back, the three-story and the two on the either side.
Okay,
But these other buildings, like, I don't even know if permits were pulled to go ahead and rehab these apartments.
okay,
So they have to be inspected within the next couple of days by the building official.
okay.
And if everything's up to par, then have these people moved in within 7 days. I'm trying to get this correct because I agree wholeheartedly with you, sir. We're talking about a safety issue. If something comes down, it could actually
Hang on
cause,
one second.
it cause issues with
Okay.
the city, it being a safety issue. So yeah, they should be taken out of there as soon as possible.
Ms. Hamler, have you gotten this down for a draft? I mean, we can review it afterwards. Okay, I have a question now. Ma'am, who are
She's
who
our
are you?
director.
Excuse me?
She's our director.
Okay. Have you been sworn in? Were you sworn? Okay, let's go ahead. Did you state your full name, please?
Tanja McCoy, Development
Ma'am, do
Center.
you solemnly swear to testimony about giving the matter now here, but the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. Now, she's your witness, or you just want?
Yes, no, she's my witness, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was just gonna say, administratively, if you guys decide to have the people moved, then we should say that they can be moved to any location. So
Oh, and
the
yeah.
move needs to take place, and they can be moved to a hotel or whatever you guys
Well-
have in place, because we don't know if those units are habitable at this time as well. So we
Just-
don't wanna get them moved
That's why-
in.
Just to be clear to one and all, I can't order any of that. What I can do is make findings that they should be done, and I can make a finding that the management company said it would be done. And you're saying that folks who are living in unsafe units will be moved, to your point, Mr. McCoy, any safe structure, whether it's on-site or off-site or wherever, we don't really, the city doesn't care as long as they're safe.
As long as it's a reasonable distance.
Excuse me?
As long as it's a reasonable distance, because
Well-
somebody could say, hey, we got places in Arizona here, we'll move
Yeah.
you there. I'm being serious.
I got you. We'll handle that in the order too.
Local.
A local occupancy that's safe, something like that. We'll work on
Right,
that.
thank you.
Can I ask a question?
To who?
Oh, go ahead.
To the city, to
Sure.
whomever.
Miss-
So, and again, I don't know the legal stance on this, I just know from my experience, normally, if there's a situation where we need to condemn a building, it's not always the onus of the owner to relocate them. From a legal standpoint, our attorneys usually normally have us give us notice that they have 7 days to vacate. I'm not saying the owners are not going to consider putting them into another structure or temporarily, but if that's the case, who do we talk to?
We're gonna say, as of right now in this order, what should be done. I can't order your owner to do anything, okay? We can find it unsafe, we can find it in violation of codes, we can say, obviously, since it's unsafe, whoever's occupying it, that seems to be no big logical jump. If it's unsafe, people ought not to be occupying it. We should say that they should be relocated. The legal obligations or not fall upon your client, and they need to talk to their attorney about what their obligations and potential liabilities are. Because I don't think it takes a genius, a legal genius, to figure out, based upon what I saw and heard about the condition of this property, there's potential liability there.
And to make it short and sweet, I'd like to go ahead and retract what I suggested and renew it and say $250 a day, starting today, for action to be taken on this property. And leave that simple, whether they go ahead and remove the people, whether they want to start building or whatever. We have a safety issue. We're talking about human lives. So a $250 a day fine starts today for activity, go ahead and start by the owners.
Then that, did you hear what that order's gonna say?
Yes, so can I ask why did we change from giving 15 days to be able to?
Because we're talking about a safety issue,
I
and
agree.
I'm realizing that it is my fault for not actually bringing it up as a major safety issue. The fire marshal did, and I thank him for it, but we're talking about people's lives here.
Okay,
Well, and I'm not gonna argue your case, and I think we want this solved so everybody's safe, the permits are issued, the property's in economically viable use. That's the goal of the city, that's probably the goal of your property owner, but in the meantime, the safety issue needs to be addressed. And I think the city was doing good trying to work with the property owner. When I saw your letter, Mr. Fire Marshal, and actually, whenever I handle a case like this and I look at I'm ignorant. I'm a person who almost electrocuted themselves putting in a ceiling fan one time, so I'm ignorant, but when I see wiring, when I see water, a hot water heater, which means water and wiring, when I see stuff like that, I start getting flags and I start asking questions. They may be stupid questions, so oftentimes they probably are, but I ask those questions. So I'm not faulting the city for trying to work with the property owner. I'm just saying those causes caused me to ask questions.
And just to let you know, the city will work with you. Once you come into compliance, you do have the right to go ahead and write to us and ask for reduction in the fines. So if you work with us right away, then I'll bring it back in front of the magistrate and we can talk about it.
okay,
But this way, something has to be done right now.
understood.
All righty? All right, Your Honor. Thank you.
Is there anything else to be brought before me on this case? By anybody? Okay. Then what I'm going to adjudicate is that as to the property located at 637 South Orlando Avenue, which you said was also addressed at 625, is that what?
Right, they also have an address at 625, but as far as property appraiser is concerned, it's 637.
Okay, 637, in accordance with the records of the Brevard County Property Appraiser, property owned by KLT East Coast LLC, I'm finding the violations of sections 10-22, 6-11, IMP, International Property Maintenance Code, section 302, IPMC section 302.7, IPMC section 304, section 304.1, section 304.9, and section 304.10. I'm providing that the property shall have 1 day to cure those violations. That is 1 day from today. The order is going to, and we're going to issue the order in writing that nunc pro tunc, back to today. That means that whatever date that order is signed, it's effective as of today. Okay, and the order will find about the unsafe conditions as testified to by the fire marshal and others, and should for each day of violation, which means each day that the violations that I've just noted stay in effect, there'll be a fine of $250 per day. And that'll be the order. And not to give legal advice, but on commercial property, if things don't go right, I hope they all go right like you suggested, Mr. Ryan, like Ms. Barnes was hopefully engaging in communication with you about. But if they don't go right, there's no prohibition about foreclosing on commercial property because it's not homesteaded. So that's always something to take into account because there can be a lien and that will mess up title and mess up loans and mess up everything. So it's best to get these code violations corrected. And that's anything further on this case?
No, sir, thank you.
Yes, I'm okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Barnes, for appearing today. Are there any other cases to be brought before the special magistrate today?
Yes, sir. The next case is actually compliance to Massey hearing. It would be case number 23-321. Respondent would be Timothy McGrath. Address of property is 281 Bahama Boulevard. Parcel ID and legal description as per the agenda.
Is Mr. McGrath here? Is Mr. McGrath here? Is Mr. McGrath here? called 3 times. Mr. McGrath was not here. You may proceed.
Right. This is just a Massey hearing to see if he came in compliance or not. Believe it or not, I've still never talked to the individual. My coworker, Mr. Kelly Henwerk, she was able to go ahead and talk to him, and she suggested that he talk to me, but he still didn't. But he did come in compliance. In fact, he got the permit. He applied for the permit the day the hearing was going on, that morning at 9:30. He applied for the permit. But he is in compliance, so no fines.
All right. So there was an order entered?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't, obviously, to the world, I say, this is only my second hearing in Cocoa Beach, and I don't know all the practices. Is it the practice of Cocoa Beach to enter an order finding the compliance to sort of terminate the prior order? Or how do you all do
I
that?
am working with my director, believe it or not, to start doing that, but right now, that's the end of the case. There's no
Okay.
fines or anything.
That's good. They came into compliance. Are there any other cases to be brought before the special
There's
magistrate?
one other case. It's an old case. It's case number 22-310. Respondent was Alan and Jacqueline Patet. The address of property is 400 Angelo Lane. I've been going around with this property for a long time. In fact, I'm going to say it was all the way back in August of 22. We were under another system called Naviline, and we switched over to a system called OpenGov. Not to go into a long drawn-out story, I received a letter from Malcolm, the owner's son, Malcolm Petit, and it was stating how his father is not in the state anymore, but his father did give him a letter, and I would like to present it to you and explain to you that the father is not in the state. The father has turned everything over to the son, per se, to start correcting the issues, and I would like to go ahead and basically give this a postponement also till a future date, not to any date specific right now. He's already started getting rid of a lot of the property. He's already sold the boat. He's taking care of the activity. So on that matter, I'll go ahead and show this to you.
And you're Malcolm, who we swore in earlier, is that right? Yes. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Riley, you're going to work with Mr. Petit. Is it Petit? Pettit. Okay. And Mr. Pettit, you're ready to work with the city to get the property in good shape, and you see the goal of the city's compliance, and so if you get the compliance, that's a win for the city and that's a win for the property owner.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're just going to continue it to a date undetermined? at this
Yes,
time?
sir. And that'll be the end of our hearing for today.
Is there any other matter to be brought before the special magistrate today? If not, we're adjourned.